Hey, Thomas, welcome back. How are you today?
Hi, Dharam. Thank you. I'm very good. So I'm sitting here in Germany in my attic, and the sun is gone. So I'm happily seeing this colder weather and looking forward for Christmas.
Yeah, great, good to know this. And yeah, so in Dallas, yes, it's not too bad, but I'm putting jacket just to show off that I got this jacket from PMI.
Oh, that's very good. You were at the global forum, yeah,
Yeah,
in
if we can see certified pro, PgMP,
pro. Good. Well, I missed that one, so and I missed the jacket. So sorry for that.
That's fine. That's fine. So that's what the choice is all about. You decided not to go to PMI Global Summit this time, and you miss out on jacket. Nice jacket.
Yeah, that's true.
So today's
And
topic is about
I think you don't. There's no chance to buy this kind of merchandise, elsewhere. So you
no,
have to be there.
exactly. And yeah, so I'm happy to have this and show it off, certified pro. So anybody doing PG, actually this is only for PGMP and PFMP, not for
Yeah.
everyone. And I was asking, can I have two of them? Or rather, can I have 517 PGMP and 147 PFMP? So I can have so many jackets I can distribute.
Good.
All right, so topic for today is interesting. It's about the choices and how to make better choices for your projects.
Yeah.
So we make choices every day, and for some good choice,
Yeah.
some bad
Many.
choice. Yeah.
So how did you make your choice to go to the to this global summit of PMI? And then afterwards, how do you judge your choice?
Actually, the going to the global summit. This was my first global summit after coming to United States in 5 years, which is kind of not a good thing. But going to LA, it turned out to be really good. And I'm seeing people I have not seen for many years, and they come and some surprises. Dharam, you remember me? It looks familiar, but I don't remember your name. Oh, I'm your PGMP student. I'm from Pakistan. Really? Okay, I'm done. I'm not saying that. I saw
Good.
so many people and I crossing road and just happened to shake hands with somebody. I'm Dharam. Dharam Singh, the PGMP group. Wow. so so that's where
Good.
this is where I was feeling very excited to meet so many people. Somebody I already know, somebody I did never know. I also happened to go to the group of PMI African group, and it was very nice. And it was PMI funded in the bar, and lots of dance, drinks, and all was going on. It's crazy, and I make a lot
Good.
of good friends there.
So you made a choice, and you gave your luck the opportunity to meet people, and in the end, it was positive. But in the beginning, you could not be sure about that.
Yeah, it's a costly, but you take out it 3 4 days from your busy schedule, but it's worth going. Yeah, I'm glad I made the choice, and making sometimes making choice better than not making choice, because okay, should I make a choice? Okay, I'm going or I'm not going there.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a made up choice. Okay, so my question to you: how critical is making informed choices in project management today, especially considering the rapid changes and evolving trends in the
Mhm.
industry?
Well, it's very critical, and so let me put one thing on top of that. It's critical because you have, as a leader, as a project manager, program manager, you have to ensure that you establish physiological safety for
Mm-hmm.
your team, for the customer, for all stakeholders, if you want. And everything you do know, they have a lot of triggers from the context, and don't know how to go forward, don't understand the plan or whatever, have a lot of questions. And if you really share first the vision, and you share how we intend to get there and what the role of everybody is, they are much more structured in the system of a project, yeah, and the program. And I think this is the foremost task, um, and critical task as a project manager to establish. But yeah, sure, we have what we see is increased complexity because the systems get larger. No, imagine what they call mega projects.
Yeah.
And just saw that in Canada they are trying to do some in construction mega projects again, tunnels and everything. And there's a lot of discussion. Should we do that? Because they remember the Boston Big Dig, the disaster, well, it was a disaster when it was built and a lot of things. Now it's functioning, it's good. But this increased complexity, a lot more components, a lot more people involved, a lot more constraints from regulations and so on. And what you said, rapid changes. Rapid means it's quicker than before, and this adds to complexity, also the time component, the dynamics. So things change a lot, and you have to be aware of this and adapt to it, and still preserve the psychological safety for your team, because they also recognize the velocity of changes, and make sure they understand it's not endangering them, but we as a team we have it in under control. And then what you can do is, with more decisions, you also have uh, with more dynamics and increased complexity, you also have to make sure that you employ your resources, your capabilities at the right spot. So it's more important even in the program when you have a lot of projects doing something, or maybe operations, but it's also important within a project, that you assign the right people to the right task and reprioritize and change the sequence and everything, depending on what the context gives you. And adaptability, is very important to you, to the team, and for that you also have to look at the context of the project, of the program, because the changes are not coming from the complexity from the program.
Yeah.
The changes are always coming from the outside, and the surprises. And if you can weather all these surprises, all these storms that are coming, you are resilient, and maybe even you can become somebody who is using these changes for opportunities, for chances, for creating additional benefits, recognizing evolving benefits, emerging benefits, that were not planned up front, but you see it, like you did in Los Angeles. Then people came to you and recognized you, and you liked it. Sure, we all like that if we are recognized and respected, and but you could not expect it. This was a emerging benefit for your travel there.
Exactly. So it's very important, especially we talking about, very rapidly changes. Next day wake up, you're talking about ChatGPT or some new AI-based tool or some good tools. And there's a risk involved as well when you move to a new untested tools or devices or equipments. We we have to, as you talk about the security and social economic and many things we have to consider. So yes, we have to look into the new technology, new way of doing things, but doing all the pros and cons. What are the importance of using this new technology? How will you benefit as a project manager, as a project team, or what can be negative? Because okay, you jump into utilizing new PMI as tool, and which is not tested, and you don't know about the security aspect. If you may get attacked for this cyber security or other thing. Have you tested that? Have you tested the volume point of view? So there are many things still have to be considered. We need to think about before making such decisions.
Yeah. Well, to reflect on that, if you use a new tool in your project environment, it always comes with a risk, because a new tool might cost something and do something, but can your team really handle it? Does the team accept the tool? Do they develop themselves in a way that they utilize the tool for the benefit of the project, or is the tool a hindrance? Does the tool not work correctly? These yeah, these are all aspects to consider. So if you are in a fast-moving project and you are in a high-performing team, I would recognize the sentence to never change a running system. So I would not introduce a tool just for the tool's sake. But if you see a problem and you say, okay, if that problem multiplies and I can maybe install a new process, a new tool to look at the bulk of these problems, then yes, you can play with it. But maybe in a protected environment first, and then before you roll it out to the whole project.
Exactly. And one thing is, sometimes when we are too much into that work, into the project, we may not see whatever we are doing is good or bad. So one example can be your team is dragging a cart with square wheels, and you're working hard. You cannot pull it properly. And somebody come from outside, hey guys, can you not replace the square wheel by a round wheel? And the guy said, no, 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 we are too busy. Don't talk to us. And that's not a good attitude. You need to think, okay, yes, somebody's suggesting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's evaluate it. I'm not saying just use it. Just say, okay, round wheel, let's try it out, prototype it. And if it's working faster, why not?
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
just ignore because you're too busy or you don't want to look at anything else.
No, as a project manager, you have to make sure that even if the team is in the flow, and they are very busy doing all the stuff from hour to hour, you have to implement some breakpoints, and you can call them retrospectives or debriefings or lessons learned or whatever, that you just stop and say, okay, now let's think what we are doing. Maybe we can sharpen our saw.
Yeah.
So I read a very good book some years ago. It was from Tom DeMarco, and we know him because he was a guru in software development. And this book was called Slack. And he promoted that we have more slack in our projects,
Yeah.
because you need time to think, you need time to reflect on what you're doing, and you need time to try out things, experiment with new stuff in a controlled way.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, can you elaborate on differences between strategic and operation choices in project management and how balancing these decisions can impact project success?
Right. Yeah, let's start, with operational, which is quite easy because it's somehow if you have a plan in a project, and if you have decided what to do task by task, it's more a mechanistic, ticking off check boxes. Operational is what you see every day, what people are doing. And then you can look in why are they doing this and that, and then you look at the plan and was it predetermined. Sometimes if the plan is bad, people are doing a lot, but they are not doing that according to plan, and they go somewhere. It might be good, might be bad, but it's not under control. So
Yeah.
this is something you should have in mind, that you recognize these kind of things, and they happen in all projects, because you have maybe a team of 20, and three people should do this and that, prepare for testing, for instance, and then they go off, have no clue what to do. They do something, and you have to walk the floor and to see, okay, what are you doing, and can I help you, and how does it fit to what we need to have, what the others need to have. So operational is the task scheduling, exactly what I said. You go from room to room, from team to team, and you see what they are doing if they are struggling. Team management, you also see if people are yelling at each other, or if they are laughing at each other, and then you can see, okay, how is the team working. And quality control. So if they are creating something, maybe you have a look at it and give them the feedback. That's not that you as a project manager are the quality control guy, but nevertheless, you look at the results and you give a feedback. And maybe you are a little bit sensitive with giving that feedback, because they worked a lot and they created something. And if the result is not as you expected, it probably the cause is that you didn't tell them what to do exactly. Probably you omitted some information in your. So don't blame them, but blame yourself to not setting up this task correctly. So that's operational, day to day, and that's a typical project manager. And I want to contrast the strategic with what a program manager is doing. So, and a program is more strategic, and a program because a program manager is not so much looking at the results, at the outputs of a project, at the code or whatever they are doing, but it's more looking at the benefits. The benefits only can be recognized if you have achieved something, and then this is creating value and amassing value, and this is always in the future. It's not now that you have this output, this piece of software, and you have the benefit. No, it's only when people can use it, and when you do more than just create the thing, just the project to create the thing. So, and this is the task of the program manager, and the program manager also is the one who deals with all these, anticipates all these changes from the context that are coming in, so, and anticipating and listening, and also being embedded in the whole governance of the organization, because the organization might change their strategy, not because they like to, but because something other changes in the context of the organization.
Yeah.
And then this change in strategy hits your program again, because maybe they lay off all resources of a certain skill, and then you have a problem in your program. You have to rehire other people, and maybe set up contracts or whatever. That's what you do. And if you know that upfront, it's better than if you are surprised by the fact what's happened. So what a strategy is and what a program manager does is often hidden from the people on the ground.
Yeah.
While operations are not hidden, they are visible to everybody, because that's what people are doing day to day. But the task of the program manager are looking ahead, are hidden from what's from the customer, from the team, whatever, and but still have to be consistent with what was the setup of the project approach. So what you do is a lot of stakeholder engagement.
Yeah.
Because you have to understand within the organization what's happening, what's going on. Do you have? I found in my program, so the most important guys to have an engagement with are the adversaries of the program. The people who see it critical, because they have good ideas what could go wrong.
Yeah.
Because they expect it to go wrong, and also they can in the moment they are not supporting the program, but if you can somehow influence them and convince them and change their expectations, then they can create some additional funding resources, whatever, for your program. So this is a very important thing. So then you have, as I said, make sure your program stays aligned with the strategy of the organization, and you are embedded in the governance framework. There's a steering committee, a sponsor, whatever, and yeah, and the core of all of that is benefits management.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you for highlighting the differences and complexities. For when we talk about project level, these are more operational activities, and program portfolio more of strategic alignment and strategic decisions. So project manager may be looking day-to-day activities. How can I improve my day-to-day work by using a new tool, new devices? And program manager, portfolio managers look long-term. Okay, by deploying this kind of system, we'll have a long-term productivity improvement, long-term, benefit relation. So that's where the difference comes. Project manager make decision, how can, on the spot, or, of course, we still have to think. You can't just make a decision, but that you're more operationalized, getting things done faster, better. So, and yes, it's not just operation managers, operation only, but project manager do make choices at the operation level.
And another point here is, you are very much positive towards Australia, and you're traveling to Australia soon again. So I read a paper where people analyzed projects and programs from the state of Victoria in Australia. Public projects, everything they are doing in the state. So they had a portfolio there. And the conclusion they had is, if the state of Victoria wants to implement some strategy, and they have a strategy and they have developed programs to implement it, to have goals, it's not the projects who are helpful. And it's not even the portfolio selection. So what kind of projects and programs you have in your portfolio, you fund first and have a sequence. But it's really the programs who achieve certain strategic goals
Yeah.
are closest to support the strategy of the state of Victoria. So that's a very interesting paper because it shows in contrast to some other researchers and scientists who are saying, okay, portfolio management is a big thing for implementing a strategy.
Yeah.
They saw in Victoria it's not. So what really is the isolated goals, strategic goals of the state. If you put a program on that and you look at the benefits achieving these goals, then you are better off with program management.
Yeah. Another thing is, if people are thinking, to get into or grow into the strategic role, they should consider themselves getting the PMI certificate such as PgMP, PFMP. So that's
Yeah.
where we talk a lot about strategy alignment, and can help you get into the PMO or maybe senior director, senior roles.
Yeah, and you can see, Pierre Le Bon, I think in this Los Angeles, so he shared that only 27% of CEOs that they asked think project management is a critical discipline for the organizations. Only 27%. And to be honest, that's what I experienced in my life. So you talk to the C-suite, to these executives, as they say, yeah, do your project. That's an operational task. Yeah, what we. So if you want to do the strategic support for the executives, then I think you have to more look into program management. And the problem is exactly what you say. Too few people are really certified. Too few people in practice, but also in academia, understand what project management is expected to do and what it can do. And so one big thing, if you look at PgMPs, maybe there are maybe 6,000 in the world, but 1.5 million PMPs.
Yeah.
So it's an unbalanced thing, and so it's no wonder that many people say, okay, a program is just a big project.
Now they don't know.
And it's failing because of that, because they are running this initiative as a project, and not as a program.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So in what ways can project managers leverage data analytics to make better choices? Can you share any tools or techniques that particularly effective?
Yeah, data analyst, I think for projects is helping you to understand performance, because you plan for something and then you have an as is, and that's continuously evolving. A lot of data, and to understand, this gaps between the plan and the as is. And to see trends and to see evolving patterns, there AI and data analysis can help a lot, for this performance improvements. One technique we might remember from the past, earned value. I'm not sure how often it is used today, but earned value was the first step of that performance management. You have the plan, you have the as is, and then you have what did you really achieve with that investment of what you actually spent. The next thing is, out of this data and out of other data, that is not related with plan or as is, you can try to do some predicting, some forecasting. And now look at trends. For instance, a trend in bugs. What kind of bugs do we have in the software if we do that? Or a trend in delays in certain construction things, because the supply chain is somehow broken for that,
Yeah.
So there are a lot of trends and forecasting and patterns that can be recognized by AI much quicker and much more accurate than by humans, because humans have biases, and so we have a lot of biases, and I think we will talk about them later also. And there's some research like reference class forecasting is a methodology where they try to avoid the bias by replacing the judgment of humans about future forecasting by data from other projects, past projects. So what you also can do with data analysis is you can optimize your resource allocations to the different things, and you can um, uh, help with monitoring, analyzing your stakeholders. So these are really diverse things that are helpful for a project manager: performance forecasting, stakeholders, and resources, where you can use tools and AI tools to help you to have a better view on the data. Nevertheless, you never will have 100% of the data you need to have a 100% forecast or thing. You have to be aware of this, and some judgment applies even if you have a big data analysis. As to the tools, the most tools I worked with for 20 years ago and have developed, like Power BI from Microsoft or Tableau or SAP Business Objects. There are a lot of tools, and all of them today utilize some embedded AI functionalities, if you want.
Exactly.
I did not run across a specific AI tool looking into data analysis which was not somehow utilizing all these other functionalities that are necessary to present the data, to gather the data, to clean the data, to make the data such that it can be analyzed. That has to be a certain format. And yeah, there's a lot of tools around there. What I came across almost 20 years ago from IBM, there was a tool which could uh, analyze data while the data was created and changed all the time. So it was more a data flow analyzing tool, which then recognized a lot of trends that could not be seen by looking at static data. So most tools have static data. They have the as is the actuals of last week, static. But if you look at how maybe money is spent continuously, then you have a different way of recognizing patterns or trends. So that's what I think about data analytics. You have to look at this. You have to be comfortable with it. And if you really have a project with a lot of needs for data analytics, then employ a data analytics specialist. And
Yeah.
there are many, they are paid well, maybe better than project managers.
Mm. Yeah, the data is a king at the moment. With so much data is collected and can be utilized for the benefit of the project program. At the organizational level, we collect data at project level. As you see the performance, when you mentioned about earned value, uh, earned value is underutilized. It's not utilized by most organizations. I mean, not many people, good for calculation, good for PMP exam or PgMP exam, PFMP exam, but not utilized. But it has huge potential to give you predictability. Okay, how we are going, looking at the trend. If we continue like this, how it's going to end up in next 3 months, 3 years? Are we going to be on time? Or going to be, all these are important. So more you can see what happened, previous data, and how it's going to, it will show you, show you some trends. This is how we're going to end up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
To
yeah.
give you an example, the data analysis is not a new thing at all. When I was a student, I worked for a bank half-time, so 20 hours a week, and I was programming stuff. And at this time, it was from 75 to 82. Yeah. And I was programming a application because we introduced screens. Before that we had punch cards and lists, and then we introduced screens, and the users used screens. So they had the keyboard in front of them.
Yeah.
And my boss was interested in how they use the keyboard. So we had a keyboard tracker, and so we could identify which of the girls in the room who are typing in stuff, stopped using the keyboard and went to drink a coffee or whatever. This was very clearly visible, on the data, just how do they use a keyboard. It was unethical, I must say. You are not allowed to do that anymore,
Yeah.
but I'm sure it is done, and it is somehow analyzed. So even 50 years ago, data analysis was something that was used, and then maybe a bias, brought up some conclusions, and may have a negative consequence for people.
Yeah, look, data is there always, and I'm sure only on defense is now we have a better system, better tools, and we also have room for manipulation as well. Sometimes data
Yeah.
is presented, as you said, maybe it's biased. I mean, you look at the election time. There, some of them they're showing you that particular political party is winning, whereas in reality it may not be. It's just manipulated data as well. So we need to be careful about and how the data utilized to make the right decision. So
Yeah.
yes, we have to be careful. Is it good data or bad data, or it's a clean data, and utilize the data for the betterment of the project.
Yeah.
See the trend and utilize it for the, can we finish the project sooner, faster? Okay, how does effective risk management influence the decision-making process in projects? And could you give an example of risk assessment strategy that has worked well in your experience?
Yeah, I would say effective risk management is also strategic risk management. If you understand not only what can go wrong day to day, these are operational risks, and so clearly you have to deal with them, anticipate them, and maybe do something, mitigate these risks over time. But what's more important is the strategic risks. Risks that change, let's say, the approach to a project, because you now have you see something, and then you have to take strategic risk. If you want to ship goods from China to Europe, now the Suez Canal is somehow threatened by the Houthis, and so many people choose a different strategic way to bring their goods to Europe. They ship around Africa. So strategic risk inform your approach in the first sense, but even may lead to pivot totally. If your benefits are based on the assumption that this goes this and that and that, and these assumptions prove to be risky, and prove to be not really achievable, then you have a risk, and you better prepare for it. And I'm sure all these shipping companies, Maersk and whatnot, how they are called, they prepared for it, and they are doing that. So same is true. What the Russians are doing with the sanctions, they see it as a risk, and they found some mitigations, and because they are strategic risks, clearly, and they did that. So and it is different from we talked about shipping, or about trade across borders. So in construction, there are other strategic risk sources, like, you have in construction, you have safety hazards, because, always on construction sites, people are hurt or even killed, and you want to avoid that. And you can avoid that, and you can mitigate it. So I remember there was a project of the year, PMI, and they had a big construction site with 10,000 people,
Yeah.
and they had zero fatalities, and this was a great achievement and benefits for them, but only because they understood that risk and they prepared for it and they implemented measures to avoid a fatality and to avoid accidents. So safety hazards, or in construction, as I said before, supply chain disruption. So if you don't get your cement this way and it's disrupted, you cannot proceed. You have to find another way. Um, or regularity. If something changes in the legal environment, in the regulations, because now maybe because of CO2 emissions or what, you cannot use this kind of product anymore to create your buildings, then you have to find something else. That's in construction. They have very specific risks. In finance, in banking, and some other. So you have economic changes. So what if, geopolitics demands that money cannot flow in these directions? You have the technology risk, because especially in banking, we have the fintech industry. So and if you don't have an online banking account for your customers, you are dead anyhow. And so we have the reputational risk. So if you are not trusted as a bank who can save your money, then no, that's what now Switzerland experiences. Because they follow the sanctions, then people withdraw the money out of Switzerland, and other banks are also um, uh, not only country-wise but also banking-wise. Yeah, we have seen that. Competitive risk, fintech was called, or M&As. People coming together and do the in Germany. Our third largest bank is a Commerzbank, and they were in trouble a lot of times, and now they are being bought by an Italian bank.
Yeah.
But that's and people say, okay, if they merge in Germany, then maybe 10,000 jobs will get lost, and because the merger has a target to cut down cost and to still serve this market. So what I want to say is, the question was, how does effective risk management influence the decision making? It's a big task to do. You understand what is coming up, prepare for that. And if you're unprepared, you might be out of business very soon.
Yeah. And this is important, like risk-based decision making. Yes, we know what is the risk involved,
Right.
and what is the probability of happening, not happening, and then impact of that. You analyze, you come up with the mitigations as well. It's talked about, and you given a very good example of the project of the year, where they have zero fatality, fatal accidents. I mean, you can't achieve like that, and especially we're talking high risk environment. So they need to do all the risk assessment, what can go wrong, and that's coming from the past experiences. Remember, risk is not just what you see, but what happened in the past. Why we have to worry about zero fatality? Because in the past, the same similar work maybe lost 5 or 6 people. So what can you do to avoid that? So now we are putting all the measures, metrics, measurements, or all the protections, giving everybody helmet, good protective shoes, good gears.
Yeah.
So they are more ready. They are there. That's where the reduction can happen. So as a project manager, we need to see and look at the lesson learned of the past past program. What happened in that?
Yeah.
And not just looking, but learning from that being important. Okay, in that project, we lost 5 people because of this. Now, what we can do, talk to, and look at not only you, talk to the experts. How can we avoid such like big accidents?
Exactly. And that's why lessons learned are so important, because in an organization or even for yourself, if you have a lot of experience on different organizations, maybe clients, you learn a lot about what can go wrong, and then you have this in mind when you look at risks. Yeah.
Exactly.
But all organizations as such can also learn from that if it's documented.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you, Thomas. It was a great discussion. Having your expertise and knowledge in this area definitely added bonus. So thank you for sharing. We still have a few more questions to discuss, and we'll talk about them in our next podcast. But yeah, thank you for all your inputs.
Yeah, let me remind our audience, decision making is what we do anyhow. If we wake up in the morning, you decide which foot you put first on the ground, and which tooth. Actually, I have 4 types of toothpaste in my bathroom, and every morning I decide which one to use. Yeah, so. And is that a data-driven decision? Could be if I make some lists when I use which toothpaste, or it's a gut feeling. How do I feel today? I'll take the strong one with mint. you know. Um,
And I
so
think you can do the database. Okay, when I use the red toothpaste, my day was good. When I use this blue one, I win the lotto. So you can use the same.
Exactly. So if I have AI watching me, and I don't like to be watched too, who likes to be watched? But if I have a personal assistant who is saying always you use the red toothpaste, you are lucky, then yeah. But I don't think there is a causal relationship between toothpaste color and how I perform, how I perceive my feelings that day. And what I wanted to do is, to say we are talking in project management a lot about data-driven decision making, and we talked about that, and it's important, yes. But we have to remind ourselves, maybe we do on our 100% of decisions every day, maybe only 5% are about, conscious decisions. When we say, okay, this is, and even less of them are fed by amount of data. We humans, we are very good on making decisions based on a lack of data. We just think something has happened, and then we decide. It's even a bias named after that, this confirmation bias. So if you see the first piece of data, you already imagine what is going on, and you have a determination for one decision, and you interpret subsequent data in this direction. And this is a bias, and we have to be aware of that. We don't have to really fight biases, but we have to be aware of them. That's the point, because we cannot fight, because that's how we are functioning. And it's not bad that we are functioning, because we are here, we are adaptive, and that's also because the way we make decisions.
Yeah, look, and other point I like to make, when we talk in decision making, we always talk about data based on trend, what happened, what other people have done, what's successful or not successful, and sometimes we get stopped just because data is not talking favorable. And you probably notice that the successes or the big inventions or big discoveries happen by the people who were thinking not the same way other people thinking. Let me think differently. That's
Yeah.
where we have to think, okay,
Yeah.
yep, you're all right, but I'm going to still go to this direction because my thinking is we're going to be more successful this side.
Yeah. So that's also one thing, it's a cultural thing. So in the Nordic countries, so Finland, Norway, and so on, they have the attitude of making democratic decisions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they put it in a team, and then they vote on it, and maybe there's a consensus, or only a majority, and they do that. And that's exactly what you say. So if most people say that's the right decision, probably it's not.
Yeah, it's just because 99.99 people saying this is you're wrong doesn't mean you're wrong.
Yeah, right. And another quote from a CEO, I don't recall who it was, but he said, there is no wrong decision. If we have a decision, we have to live with the consequences. And if if I as a CEO make a blunt decision which surprises everybody, it's a good one. You could call it strategic because nobody would have come to that decision.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just out of my head.
All right, Thomas, thank you. No, we keep talking, love talking, but we have to stop now. And we'll see again very soon and keep discussing the decision-making process. So till that time, thank you and bye.